Welcome to the Marriage Puzzle Podcast with Julie and Thomas Hobby. We are marriage coaches who help couples with pain points about money, intimacy, and communication go from being overwhelmed to being secure in their marriage.
If this is your first time listening to us, thanks for checking out our podcast. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating and a review. Let's dive into this episode. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 55 of the Marriage Puzzle Podcast. And this week we are talking about fighting fair in your marriage. And so, have you ever gotten into a big fight with each other? Of course you have. You're married.
Yeah, of course. I mean, many couples claim like, oh, we never fight, right? That's their sign of marital health. Like it's like bragging, but I never believe that.
Yeah, that's kind of like a scary thing almost.
Yeah. Like you never fight, then what are you just bottling up? Because it's not if we fight, it's when we fight.
And when we fight, it's how we fight.
Right. So, if you're going to have a healthy marriage, that doesn't just happen on accident. You have to be intentional about having a healthy relationship and be committed to it. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we wanted to talk about 3 ways to fight fair, because again, it's not if, it's when, and it's how.
Yeah, and I love what you said about being committed to it, because when we get into an argument with our spouse, it's very easy to look at it only from our point of view and say, I'm going to win this fight. Mm-hmm. It's me versus you. When in reality, being committed to it means like, hey, you know what? I'm going to step over to your side. We're going to lock arms. We're in this together. And we're going to walk through this conflict together.
Right. So we're going to be talking about 3 ways to fight fair. And the first one is listen to understand, not to unleash. You don't want to be someone who isn't listening to what the other person is saying because you're just thinking about what you're about to unleash on them when they're done talking.
Yeah. In our marriage coaching, we teach an active listening exercise that basically just teaches you to repeat back what your spouse said to you. So when they're talking, even if it's not in an argument, but very necessarily in an argument, when they're saying their piece, you can just say, well, what I hear you saying is blank. Mm-hmm. So then, we've talked about this in other episodes too, that's at least showing them that you're trying to understand and you're trying to make sense of what they're saying. And that is going to help to de-escalate the situation in general. Even if you get it totally wrong, you're at least trying to understand.
Well, yeah, because you need to then ask, like, is that correct?
Right.
What I heard you saying is that correct?
Right.
And then that helps them know, like, yes, okay, we're good. Or no, let me try again. Mm-hmm. And then kind of both parties are, listening to understand, not to unleash.
Yeah, totally. And number 2 is talk to help and not to hurt. So there are a couple of really good questions that you can ask when you're kind of thinking about this scenario, talk to help, not to hurt. The first one is, should what I'm about to say actually be said? Should this be said?
Yeah, I've heard a quote. It says, like, everything that is said should be true, but not everything that's true should be said. So I think I've said that before, but I just love that quote because it's like, should this be said? Even if it's true, I don't know if this is going to help. If it's going to hurt, then maybe it shouldn't be said.
Right. And that's actually a very fine line of a statement in marriage, because you don't want to be like, oh, well, I did something really wrong, which is true. Should that be said? Yes, you should be honest with your spouse.
We're not talking about
get
secrets.
Mixed up with get truth mixed up with honesty here, or integrity, I guess would be another way to put that in. But basically, if you're arguing about, we're always running late because of you, that's probably not a statement you should say. Mm-hmm. That's going to be a hurtful statement.
It's true.
It may be true. It may very well be true.
But what I say with that is there's just different ways to word it. There's different ways which will kind of, be able to help how you can help and not hurt. But another question you could ask is, should it be said now?
Right.
if you are running late and you say that, that's just going to blow up and be a fight.
Then you're really going to be late.
If you do think you should say it, maybe it shouldn't be said right then.
Right.
Maybe that's not when you're running late. It's like, hey, this has been happening for a couple times and I want to know how I can help. And that's actually being helpful instead of being hurtful in the moment of just, like you said, like, you're always making us late. Like, that's not going to even speed up the process of getting there on time because you're going to be late because of a fight.
Well, and I like that you started talking about, what is helpful and hurtful, because we were going to mention that as, this great analogy that we heard, that every argument in a marriage is like a small fire that has started. And you have two choices. You can either help the argument or you can hurt the argument. And you can help the argument by getting a bucket of water to pour on that fire and try and put it out. There's a few ways that you can do that. You can stay calm in your tone. You can maintain eye contact with your spouse. And you can eliminate distractions because those will all let them know that you're actually listening, kind of going back to number one a minute ago, listening to understand. And you can ask a couple more clarifying questions like, what can I do differently next time? Or how can I make this situation better? Those are all things that are going to lower the tone and the level of the argument and really help it out.
So you should grab that bucket of water because that's helpful to make the fire smaller. But if you instead grabbed a bucket of gas, that's going to make your fire bigger. And that's things that you're going to do to hurt. And examples of that would be, getting worked up, raising your voice. That's never helpful. That's going to hurt the situation. Or accusing your spouse, talking down to them, things like that. That's just pouring gas on the fire and it's going to blow up in your face.
Totally. And so then number 3, we've got resolve it today or it'll be bigger tomorrow.
So earlier I said, should it be said now, under point 2. And so you could say, no, I don't need to say it now. I'll say it for tomorrow. And it's just going to get bigger then. So that's not my point of when I said say it now. It's just if you are running late, going back to that example, that's not the best time to bring up the issue that you have about your spouse always making you late.
Yeah.
But say it that day, that night, when things have calmed down, when you're not in that heated moment, because if you don't resolve it today, it could build up and be bigger tomorrow. Or what's worse is when you're like, hey, 2 weeks ago, you didn't do this, or you hurt me or whatever. And you're like, you've been holding on to that. So now the argument is bigger. So maybe not the conflict, the actual issue or what it was, that could be a small thing. But if you didn't bring it up at the end of the day, or when the best time, you didn't try to resolve it that day, it's going to be bigger tomorrow just because the feelings are going to be bigger. The fight's going to be bigger.
Yeah. And make sure that in this, when you do get to bring it up, be honest and straightforward with what you need today. There's no reason to drag this fight out. Let's say let's go back to that running late example. You're running late in the morning to get somewhere on time together, and it got all messed up, and you decided to wait. When you get to the end of the day and have that conversation, you need to be straightforward with your spouse about what you need. Again, remember what we said just a minute ago. Don't accuse your spouse. Don't talk down to your spouse in this situation, but be honest and straightforward. And don't make your spouse guess how to resolve the situation. If you want to have the discussion, bring the discussion up, be ready to talk about it, and be straightforward with them. We had a guest on our podcast a couple months ago, and they said that often what they do is just they're straightforward. They say, what can I do to make this situation better right now? And sometimes the answer is just, I just need you to say, I'm sorry, and give me a hug. And that resolves the issue sometimes. And so don't just make your spouse guess, like, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? Is this it? Is this it? Well, no. Right now, all I need you to do is just say you're sorry and give me a hug. Maybe that will resolve it. Maybe it's something different in your scenario, but be honest and straightforward with what you need.
Yeah, that
today.
just happened. That just happened to us the other night, and I was like, I just need you to listen. Like, I just had emotions built up from nothing to do with our marriage. It wasn't a conflict within each other, but I just was feeling stressed, and instead of even Thomas like trying to fix it and everything like that, or interrupting or whatever, that actually could have led to conflict. I think you're really good about asking, like, what do you need from me? How can I help? And like, I just need you to listen. And you did, and I felt better. But yeah, often that is then like, now give me a hug.
I remember that, and I think I started trying to fix it, and then I actually caught myself and said, I probably just need to stop trying to fix this and just listen.
And it was fine. Then we didn't fight. But if you fight, it's not if you fight, it's when you fight. This is how. Again, 1, listen to understand, not to unleash. 2, talk to help, not to hurt. And finally, 3, resolve it today, or it'll be bigger tomorrow.
Yeah, great tips and points there. Thanks so much for checking out this episode. We loved hanging out with you guys. And if you are not yet following us on social media, make sure you go check us out. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Marriage Puzzle. And check out our website, marriagepuzzle.com. As we said at the top of the episode, we are marriage coaches, and we love helping couples out on a couple-to-couple basis with issues that are going on in your marriage. So
how to fight fair.
Like how to fight fair, yeah. So
conflict resolution skills.
Yeah. So at our website, you can schedule a free discovery call with us to see what we can do to help you out. And as always, we look forward to having you back next week. We're together. We'll work on marriage, one puzzle piece at a time. See you later.
Bye.